apparently I'm reading slippery books.
Hey guys, it's Amanda over at AmandaReads, and today I'm coming to you with a really late November wrap-up and December TBR. The amount of books I read in November is kind of sad. I read 3 books, and the first book I read was Night Film by Marisha Pessl, and I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I started this book in October and didn't finish it until November. I really didn't love this book. It intrigued me enough to want to keep reading until the end to kind of find out what was going on, but I wasn't addicted to it or truly captivated enough to pick it up as often as I could have. I thought this was going to be a horror novel, and I didn't think this was scary at all. And maybe that's why I was so reluctant to pick it up every day, because I was hoping for something that was scary in the month of October, and this is more of like a suspense kind of thriller, but not really scary. And I thought it was marketed as a scary book, so that was a disappointment. If you don't know, Night Film is about a kind of like journalist detective named Scott McGrath, and he's investigating the death of a famous horror director's daughter. It appears that she committed suicide, but he doesn't believe that's the truth. So he's on this journey to dig up her past and learn more about her father and the type of childhood she led, and all of these crazy things come about. Overall, I think I would recommend it because so many people have loved this book. It just wasn't for me. The second book I read in the month of November was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater, and this was my buddy read with Fiona over at Reads and Eats for the month of November, and we have a live show that I will link down below that we did last weekend. I gave The Raven Boys 4.5 out of 5 stars. I actually listened to this on audiobook. When I started this book, I wasn't really a fan of the guy who did the narration. I did end up really liking him, and I think it just took me a while to get into his style of reading, but I really enjoyed the audiobook. I absolutely just loved this book. I thought it was amazing, and I didn't have a problem getting into the story. I've watched plenty of reviews of this series, and a lot of people were saying that it's kind of weird and you don't know what's going on and it's hard to get into. I didn't feel that way. I don't know if I would have felt that way if I was reading it, but listening to it, it was awesome, and I totally was sucked in almost immediately. And the final book that I picked up and read in November was Remember Yesterday by Pintip Dunn, and this is the second book in a trilogy. I read the first book, Forget Tomorrow, last month or the month before for BookTube tours, and the publisher kindly sent me a copy of Remember Yesterday, and I also purchased a copy of Remember Yesterday if you watched one of my book hauls where I mentioned that. I was really excited to get back into this world, and I'm so sad that I have to wait like another year for the final book in the trilogy. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. This book did not suffer from second book syndrome. I actually think I liked this book better than the first book in the trilogy, which was really surprising. I'm not going to really give that much of a synopsis. You know, I don't want to spoil what happens in the first book, but I will say that the second book is from a different point of view. It's from Jessa's point of view, which is the younger sister in the first book, so you actually read from her point of view, and I loved it. I wasn't sure after I read the first chapter if I was gonna like it, but holy crap, this book was amazing. So if you've read it, I really need you to comment down below because we need to talk about it. It was unreal. My Goodreads review was just like me gushing, and I cannot even wait for the third book. Pintip Dunn makes you yearn for the next book, and she did a fantastic job. I loved it way more than the first book. And I loved the first book, so that's saying something. I also started an audiobook. I started the second book of the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place series. The books are pretty short, and the audiobooks I can get through 1 a week, so I think it's definitely the way to go. That's all that I've read in the month of November. As far as my TBR for December goes, I do have a good amount of books that I really want to read, and I don't know if I'll get to them. I have only 1 week vacation this year instead of 2 weeks for Christmas break, and we have a lot going on during that time. I'm not sure how much I'll read, but I have set a pretty high goal for myself. The first book that I want to finish is the audiobook of The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place Book 2, which is The Hidden Gallery. Again, I'm almost done with this, and I am so excited to finish it. The audiobook is going by so fast. Then I also want to pick up the third book of the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place series and listen to this on audiobook as well, which again, like I mentioned, I can get through about 1 a week, so I don't think that this is totally unrealistic. I think I could definitely get through this and possibly even the next one. We will see. I am also reviewing one book this month, as I've mentioned in plenty of wrap-ups, hauls, and so on. I'm a member of the Sarah Morgan US review crew, so every 2 or 3 months I get a new book from Sarah Morgan that I need to read and review. This is a really exciting month for me because I just started in April or May, and we got the first book in a trilogy, and then over the summer we got the second book in the trilogy, and now we have the final book in the trilogy, and that is Miracle on Fifth Avenue by Sarah Morgan. This is part of the From Manhattan with Love trilogy, and this is a Christmassy book, so I'm so excited. It's the perfect time to read it. Fiona over at Reads and Eats already read this. She read this back in October, November, and she said it was really good, and this is one of my favorite characters, so that's really exciting. The next book that I'm going to read this month is The Quiet Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott, and this is like a Christmas novella almost. Louisa May Alcott wrote Little Women, and back when she wrote Little Women, she met these like 5 fans, I think they were sisters, of her story, and they were in love with her story, and she ended up writing this story, I think, for them, and it was never published. I think it was like written in a newspaper or something. And then it was rediscovered years later and actually published. So that's really exciting. I have had this for at least 10 years probably, and I've never picked it up or read it, and it's so short. So this is going to be my December buddy read with Fiona over at Reads and Eats. It's so short we figured that we could get through it really quickly, and it's a Christmas story, so it's the perfect month to read it in. I also am really hoping to pick up What Light by Jay Asher because this is also a Christmas story, so why wouldn't I read it in December when Christmas is happening? So I'm really hoping to pick this up. This is a new release. A lot of people have already read this on BookTube, and I've heard really good things about it. It's supposed to be really cute, and that's what I look for in a Christmas story, is something that's really cute. I'm obsessed with this cover. I'm trying to make it look as shiny as it is, and it's so soft and smooth, and it is amazing. So I'm really excited to try and get to this month as well. Finally, as if that wasn't ambitious enough, I am trying to get to the second book in the Raven cycle, which is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm also feeling like I really need to tackle A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I started it back in October or September, like it's disgraceful how long ago I started, and I'm like 70 pages in. I took explicit detailed notes, so I do have that to look back on and refresh what's happening. And the book's not bad. I think it's just honestly daunting and my anxiety levels can't handle it, so I just literally put it on my shelf and haven't touched it again. But I need to. So it would be really nice to finish 2016 by finishing that and not having that looming over me in 2017, so I may have to sacrifice one of the other books on my TBR to try and finish that over Christmas break, so we will see. So those are the books I read in November, and the pretty gigantic TBR I have set myself for December, considering how little free time I have. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye guys!